Hello, everyone. My name is David, and I'm an account executive over at Play MPE. And today we are in the presence of our wonderful guest today, who is renowned vocalist Darlene Koldenhoven. You may have heard a few of her gigs. You may have. Darlene, of course, was featured as featured soprano vocalist in the PBS special Yanni Live at the Acropolis, which has been viewed by over 1.5 billion viewers worldwide and is the second highest selling video to this day, surpassed only by Michael Jackson's Thriller. So she's sung on over 1,000 recordings in film, television, commercials, and is known as the tambourine waving choir nun in both Sister Act films, which I'm a big fan of, with Whoopi Goldberg. Not only that, she is an artist in her own right with several vocal albums, having hit the #1 position on worldwide radio charts. Wow, Darlene, you have been very busy. This is not even the cliff notes of what you have accomplished in your lengthy career. Not only that, I understand you are an independent artist. And those are accolades one would normally attribute to a major label artist with big time management. What is your secret? If you don't mind sharing, of course.
No, not at all. First of all, I'm very happy to be with you today. Thank you very much. I'm excited. Been looking forward to doing this. This is great. What's my secret? Well, let's see. First of all, the freedom of being an independent artist. So you can do whatever you want. So that's kind of cool. You may not have the grand exposure of a major label, but you get to do whatever you want, and that's cool. So,
no holds barred.
No, but the secret, I think, is persistence, making sure that I'm prepared. You know, the secret to success is when preparedness meets opportunity, and to always have an antenna, so to speak, for what opportunities might be around, and to keep an eye open for that, and then, you know, to follow through, to follow up, be persistent, be positive, and just kind of know where you might fit in, and you know, being grateful. You know, always say thank you, and being grateful for having the opportunity, like I am today. So thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Yes, being thankful of those opportunities is showing gratitude, right? And that goes a long way, especially because, you know, being an independent artist, you have to put in a lot more of that work yourself, but then you meet people along the way who want to nurture what you have, and being, you know, grateful for their opportunities presented is absolutely goes a long way. So make sure everyone who's tuning in, writing down those notes if you're an independent artist. We love a good origin story, of course. So when did you first get into music? Did the singing come first, or was it, as I see there, piano, of course, you know?
Yes. The singing came first.
Yeah.
My very first recollection of singing in public was when I was 3 years old.
Wow.
And it was Easter Sunday morning, and I did my first solo in church, and I sang a song called "Low in the Grave He Lay." Quite a song for a 3-year-old. You know, title and the lyrics as much.
Absolutely.
It was
you probably didn't understand the lyrics at the time, I imagine, but
no, not quite. I mean, they were explained to me, but as good as a 3-year-old can understand that, right? Exactly. But I got up on the platform, and as soon as I saw 250 people staring me in the face, I was a very shy 3-year-old, as most 3-year-olds are, right?
Yeah,
and I
usually.
And I lifted my dress high over my head so the people couldn't see me. And my mother came rushing to the stage. Darlene, put your dress down and sing, you know. So I was like, oh, okay. So I put my dress down, and I said to the organist, I'm ready now, you know. And then I sang, and I've been hooked ever since. And I also learned the first thing for singing in public is to make sure I keep my dress down when I sing in public. So
good lesson to learn at a young age. Good lesson.
Yeah, that was the first lesson, and that stuck with me forever. It served me quite well, you know.
Yeah, amazing.
So, so I was, you know, at 3, and then, you know, I sang all through elementary school, you know, and high school and college, and, you know, just always remember singing. And there was always a lot of singing going on in the house, too, between my mother and her mother, and My grandfather, my mother's father, was a musician, but he passed away when I was like 4. So, I don't have a lot of but enough, recollection of him. And we used to sing together a lot, and always a lot of singing going on in the household. So, and then around age 7, we got a piano in the house, and my mother decided to take piano lessons, but I was not allowed to touch the piano. Darlene, don't touch the piano. Oh, okay, so.
Which makes you want to touch the piano that much
of course.
more.
No, I didn't touch the piano, and so she had beginning piano lessons, and I would lay under the piano bench with a coloring book and crayons, and I would color while she was practicing, and she kept stumbling. This one day she kept stumbling over this note, and I finally got fed up with it as a kid, and I just got up, and mind you, I never touched the piano before. And I got up and I said, "No, Mom, that's the wrong note. It's an E." And I pointed to it. She looks at my finger and looks at the music and looks at my finger and looks at the music. And she slammed the lid down and she never played again because I was right. So it freaked her out because she was like, how does this kid know that when she's never touched a piano before? My mom played all the music, classical music, and she would when she was carrying me, and she'd put her belly up against the radio, and you'd hear vibrations and stuff like that. So, a 4.5-month-old fetus can hear, has a fully formed functioning ear, and they can hear the voice of the mother and through vibration and stuff. So
from the womb, music was just in your life, surrounding you at all times. And from 3 on?
I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and I moved out to Los Angeles when I was about 28, 29 years old, somewhere in there. And before I moved out here, I had my, Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours of practice on piano and 13,000 hours on voice.
You were a master.
Came out here as a master, and then, I found my way into studio singing out here, and some piano playing, but mostly studio singing, of course. And I always had a big range, like 5 octaves, and a good ear, and I had good ear training, and I came out here with really good sight singing skills because I graduated from Chicago Conservatory College, so I had a bachelor's degree in music education and a master's degree in voice. So I started out when I was 20 teaching in the Chicago suburbs in elementary school. And we had all kinds of Carl Orff glockenspiels and, Woods' beautiful rosewood xylophones. And so I was teaching, everybody in school, plus I had a special gifted class that I was teaching, and also a special needs class, and so
incredible. Yeah.
The whole gamut of how wonderful music is for everybody,
In starting your teaching within music at such a young age as well, having had all that experience under your belt, but being able to share that with others at such a young age, that it was just providing additional resources and really helping the community around you, which is incredible. Did you find that with those special needs students, was there anything in particular that stood out where maybe it was slightly different, where they heard the music in a different sense or engaged with it in a different way?
Yeah, some of it, they really clung to it, in their own way, and just like music is for everybody, gifted special needs are the regulars, we all decide what we like. Music is about personal taste, and the more you can expose yourself to a wide variety of music, the more you, have a better idea of what you really like, what you kind of like, what you don't like. And, and children are the same way. And they're the first ones to tell you straight off the bat, I didn't like that.
Just like you did with them, right?
Or I did like that, but I mean, kids are great. No.
Typically don't have a filter, but that is because they haven't learned to create that filter for themselves as of yet. So I'll give it to you straight up, which is great.
Great.
With Playing PE, you released a solo piano project. And in doing so, we got to understand a little bit more of your adversities that you had gone through and how you overcame a very serious injury as a pianist.
In my lifetime, I've had 2 very serious injuries on this right hand. The first one happened when I was 13 years old, and it was a summer, and the kids in the backyard were shooting water out of pop bottles at each other, right? And 2 bottles collided, and the other kid followed through, and so I had like a bunch of stitches in the top of my finger and in my hand, right in here. And so they were worried, is she ever going to play again? So that was, but I played again. But the worst one happened about 20 years ago. I was rescuing my Dalmatian puppy out of a dog fight, and she was reared up on her legs, and so her muscles were rigid, and I went down really with intention to grab her with her harness out of this fight.
Right.
And it was like putting your hand against a brick wall at 100 miles an hour. So I popped a tendon, it went pop, and the whole top bone smashed, and the tendon popped off and down into my hand here. So the next morning I had surgery, and they had to cut open my hand, and he had to fish out my tendon. Fortunately, there was some bone chips still attached to it. Otherwise, it would have sprang all the way up to my shoulder. And he says that was good. Otherwise, he would have had to open my arm up to my shoulder. So
blessing in disguise.
Yes. So he fished it out and put the whole finger together. And I had 100 stitches and 4 pins holding it together, and a shirt button through my fingernail that held the tendon back in place. But it's still kind of deformed. I can't really, you can see it's kind of weird.
You're so lucky to at least have
some dexterity. It took about 5 years for this hand to get back to almost normal.
So of course you've been through so much. Beyond being an incredible artist of your own right, you also have sung on albums for others as well. Albums by legendary artists such as Pink Floyd, Barbra Streisand, Whitney Houston, Neil Young, Celine Dion. I could keep on going. Do you have any fun stories that you might be able to share?
They were all fun, but Pink Floyd was one of my favorites because, ever since their Money album, which I love that song because it was a 5/4. Yeah, it was an odd meter, and all the singing on that. I said, oh man, someday, it was one of those someday things. And then someday happened,
That's it.
And so it was really great. At the session, I got to contract the singers. So 2 other lady friends and myself, we sang on all the pieces, all the songs where they had vocals on the Momentary Lapse of Reason album.
Wow.
And David Gilmour was there, Rick Mason were there, the members were there, except for Roger Waters, they were all there. And, I got to stand next to David Gilmour for a bit and talk to him and sing, have pictures taken and all that stuff. But
incredible.
Yeah, we had several recording days, it was great to do that. And let's see who else. Another fun one for me was Paul McCartney. So when I was a kid,
Sir Paul McCartney.
Sir, I'm Sir Paul McCartney.
Sir Paul McCartney. Yes.
Yes, the Grand Sir Paul McCartney. For me, it meant a lot because as a kid, I was raised. I could only listen to religious or classical music, nothing else. So in college is when I discovered, the Beatles and Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and all these other, incredible artists. But this was another someday, that I'm sure all the screaming girls, dreamed about back in the day. But it was, Paul was playing in a concert for Earth Day, and it was over here in the Hollywood Bowl. And myself and a number of my singer friends, studio singer friends, we got to sing backup for him. And the way it was arranged on stage is like I was on the end because I'm 5'10", so I'm the tallest one usually in the bunch. And then everybody else was standing to the right of me. Paul was at the grand piano on the left of me, And so we were singing away, doing our thing, and he finished and everybody's clapping, and I'm, looking at the audience, and all of a sudden he comes out from the piano and he smacks me, kisses me right on the cheek, right there. I can still feel it, I was like shocked, I didn't wash my face for like 2 days, So that was really fun, And then
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I got to sing on Ringo Starr's album, a few years after that, and so Rod Stewart was at the session too. It's great when they're at the session. That's really a lot of fun because they're not always there. But when they're at the session, that's when it gets to be really fun.
They bring their energy, right? They bring their energy to the session.
They bring their energy to the session, So
And that can change the entire make of the performance, is
Oh
all
yeah.
through that energy that you share in amongst each other, right?
It is. It is more inspiring to have them there because you really want to put on. I mean, you always put on your A game, but now it's A game plus.
Exact, 150%, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Wow, that's incredible. I guess all of these opportunities were presented through your network, especially, and you were still throughout this entire process acting as an independent.
Exactly. I've never really had a manager or an agent. I've always said God is my agent. God is my manager. And
He's been doing a great job. He's been doing
yes,
a great job.
I no complaints here. No complaints whatsoever. So Sister Act 2
Yeah.
was one of those that was so much fun.
Yeah, that's one of the projects, of course. As soon as I was introduced to you through one of our friends that we have, I was very fortunate enough to just fall in love with that project, and it was part of my upbringing quite a bit. And I reference that whenever I start belting out any sort of lyrics from either of those films. So it was great to be able to work with you on this project and hear more about Sister Act, because I know that you have some inside secrets and scoop, of course, all about.
Yeah, we had so much fun working with Whoopi on that. That was great. Wearing the nun's habit. We had to be respectful, of course.
Of course.
But we had real nuns' habits, and they were very, very hot. And that's when I learned that your heat escapes through your fingertips, the top of your head. Because when everything's covered and you have to put your hands under the tabard, we were in that church in San Francisco that summer, and it was so hot.
Yeah.
It was like 100 and some degrees, And
oh my goodness.
The director would yell, "Cut!" and you'd take your hands out, and you could feel your hands cooling, like
shaking them off.
But Whoopi was great. I mean, the day it was my birthday, she bought pizza and champagne for everybody.
What a combination!
And we had the lunch break, and everybody partied. It was great, and she wore Mickey Mouse ears under the nun's habit. Had big white Mickey Mouse hands. She took them out to conduct. So I mean, it was really a hoot. We had a great
full entertainer.
Yeah, Sister Act 1 and Sister Act 2, and I'm hoping Sister Act 3, so waiting to hear about that. I've got my fingers crossed because that's really going to be a blast. There's not many of us left from the original. There's about 5 or 6 of us left from the original, so I'm glad. I hope we get
all of us, cult followers of the original 2 will be there, ready and willing to run to the box office to watch that if ever it does come to light. So
yeah,
everyone tuning in, don't hold your breath and put in good vibes to get that out there. We would love to see a Sister Act 2. That would be very exciting. You'd let me know, Darlene.
I will. Sure.
And of course, we have a little award there on the piano. I believe it's called a Grammy. Of course, you have.
It's a real one, and you can't see it.
One.
I have the 3 nominations are up on the wall on that side, but you can't see those. But they're there, and now we have the real Grammy.
So tell us, how did that feel?
Yeah, I had to put it on a box because in my year they were smaller, so I had to put it on a box, make it look more prestigious.
There you go. It certainly fits in there perfectly on top of that piano. Tell us a little bit more about that experience and what that was like.
Well, again, I was singing lead soprano for this really genius musician keyboard player by the name of, his name is Claire Fisher. And he had a band called Salsa Picante. So he was kind of like this German, American guy who loved salsa music, And so he had a salsa band. And then one of the first things we did on the first album was a German beer drinking song called Du liegst mir im Herzen, and it was all to a salsa rhythm, and that just blew everybody's mind, And
salsa with beer, it's going to be a spilly occasion, but it's going to be a fun time.
Exactly. So we did 3 albums, and the third album, and we got nominations for each one. The first nomination came in 1981 for me. So I came to LA the summer of '79 and never sang in a band or in the recording studio ever before. When I was 19, I appeared as a soprano soloist with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. That was a big deal. But I'm just realizing, looking at this 1981, that was less than 2 years after I got out here. So, it was like who you run into, who you meet, here in Hollywood and things like that. It's really amazing. And then 1986 was the nomination for the third album, which then we won the Grammy, in February of '87. So
it just shows you that you put yourself in a position for growth and opportunity.
Yeah, and he was an independent artist too. I mean, he was on a German label, but it wasn't like being on a major American label, So it was like a major independent label, kind of, so to speak, And so when we when we won the award, and I went up to speak, to give my gratitude to everyone and stuff. I thanked Manhattan Transfer for not putting an album out that year because they'd been winning all the other years. That year they didn't put an album out, and it gave other people a chance, So
you guys seized the opportunity, right?
Yeah. But Claire, I loved working with Claire. His music was so phenomenal. His harmonic sense was amazing, and he found out I had this really high range, so he would always, I'd be singing F's above high C, and just all this really high stuff, which made the group sound unique. It was different. He used to call me the Maynard Ferguson of sopranos. It's because I could sing that thing out with full voice, not a little Minnie Mouse voice. It was full voice, so that was a lot of fun. And I think that's one of the things that set us apart, plus his music was like phenomenal. So yeah, that was great. It was unbelievable when they call your name. You go, what? Really? Really? Who? Me?
Yeah, I can't even imagine what you would have been feeling like in that time. Do you remember some of your speech?
I thanked Neris, for voting for us. And I thank Claire, for writing such great music for us. And, everybody that voted, and just, having the opportunity, I mean, I didn't belabor the issue. It was just like, get to my points. That was it, but it was a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. Something you'll never forget.
No, you never forget those things.
No, exactly. And to come back to your solo piano album, which was released on May 14th, titled Grand Piano Spa, what made you decide to take that direction? And tell us a little bit more behind, I guess you mentioned alluding to the title and what you're trying to, what sort of vibe you were trying to create, but tell us a little bit more about that process in creating that project.
Well, one of the things I do, I have a certification in sonic therapy. And so how it came out is one of the pieces, when you're listening to high frequencies, it stimulates and charges the brain. And higher frequencies like, 4,000 to 8,000 hertz is very stimulating to the brain. And the higher frequencies relate to your creative centers. Middle frequencies to your musical ear, reading, a lot of other things, but I'm speaking in terms of music. Lower frequencies in terms of your rhythmic sense, sensory motor in terms of your rhythmic sense. So this one day I had been listening to 8,000 hertz, way up there, and you listen to Mozart, but it's acoustically processed music. So it filtered out everything below 8,000 hertz. So you're just hearing the high end, and like, especially if it's violin concertos, they go pretty high. So it leaves a lot. And just this one tune just came out of my hands, and this whole tune just came out just like that fast. And it was like, wow. So I had some other tunes like, that's Wisteria from the Grand Piano Spa,
Yeah, so, that one stuck with me quite a bit. That one I listened to when I was actually going through a little bit of some stuff that I needed to process. And that one really grounded me.
Good.
And I did listen to that multiple occasions on Playing PE, of course, and then made sure I went and checked out all the other platforms to give you some additional streams.
Yeah, those streams are important, but it was fun debuting number 4 on the Billboard classical crossover charts with the album in May, week of May 20th.
Absolutely.
That was a first for me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that because I never really bothered with it before, but this time I bothered with it, and so it was great being on that chart and surrounded by the people. Oh, and interestingly enough, um, through Play MPE, I got spun by Peter Beauchamp's nationally syndicated show. And
Wow.
so you can check, what lists you're on. And here I am. This is great because here is Wisteria sandwiched between Paul McCartney and Neil Young. Both people,
None other than.
both guys. Neil Young was great. I sang on his, Living with War album, and he stood next to me while we were singing too, and stuff. So I really was tickled pink. I thought, isn't that a hoot,
How very serendipitous almost.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's great. I've been having so much fun with Play MPE. I really have. It's just a cool way to do it. It's such a blast. And you see, every day, like this morning, there was another person, checking me out, God, it's such a great feeling, just to, when you send out, the announcement, and of course that first day, or second day, you get a lot of hits, and that's
So
really
much excitement.
But it still continues, throughout the week, you still get, more people, and oh, now I'm on this show, or oh, that person streamed me or downloaded me or opened it. It's just very cool. I've been having so much fun with it.
I'm so happy that you've been finding the experience to be so much fun because of, it's that brand new project that, you weren't sure if you were ever going to release it. And, our friend connected us together to be able to highlight this project of yours even more so. And, it's definitely all worked out as it was meant to be. And I'm just so grateful to be able to get to know you and be able to guide you along your journey. Because Play MPE is here to help provide that sort of service to anyone from an independent level all the way up to major labels. There's no sort of prioritization for anyone. You all have, equal playing field. And if you're willing to go up to bat for yourself, like Darlene has, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, incredible. Incredible, Darlene. I didn't even tell her to say that, I swear.
Oh, no, you didn't say anything.
Wholeheartedly. So for anyone that is a newer fan, are there any particular recordings or performances which perhaps encapsulate you as an artist? I guess I'm asking, what would be your, best of album if you put one together?
Yeah, I was always thinking of putting a best of together, and list just is way too long, but if I may say so. But there are a few that really stand out to me, but also to fans and people, that have emailed me, through my website, darlenekoldenhoven.com, or, at live gigs or whatever. Of course, because the piano album has been getting a lot of nice accolades, but vocally, most people know me as a vocalist. So of course, there's the aria from Yanni Live at the Acropolis. Would be on there. I have a YouTube channel. You can see them all on my YouTube channel. There's another tune from my Heavenly Peace album titled Emmanuel, and that was written by Michel Colombier. That's a vocalese where there's no lyrics, but I use my voice like an instrument.
Oh, wow.
And
yeah.
That one always moves people to tears. That's good. Of course, I've done Nessun Dorma, which is a great piece of music. I have that on my Solitary Treasures album, and that always was, standing ovation kind of a song. My album Infinite Voice, there's a lot. The Sulla Do Me Pe, which is my version of the Yanni aria, and there's another piece I did on there that I co-arranged with my friend Brad Cole, who's the keyboard player, musical director for Phil Collins. Brad and I did an arrangement of both the Ravel and the Fauré pavans, so we call that pavan. And because one day I was messing around playing on piano, reading music, playing on the piano, and all of a sudden I realized, those two melodies really fit together. Where one sustains a long note, the other one moves, and then it sustains a long note, and then that one moves.
Did you want to show us what?
No, I can't. Because I'm singing both parts, so because it's a duet, so I'm singing both parts. But it was really interesting. I think Ravel studied with Fauré, and so maybe kind of got the idea and got inspired. But I figured out that they would that those two go together. So that's called Pavon, and so that whole infant voice album is just there's a lot of classics on there. Great. I have one original piece on there, but all the rest are covers. Classical, or I did a Sting tune on there. That was one of his guitar pieces that I did as a vocalese.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then my Color Me Home album, which was came out in 2018, 2017, something like that. That won 20 awards and 35 nominations, and that was all my original material. And I'm singing and playing and arranging, and I had a lot of Grammy-winning people come in and play solos, like Tom Scott and Charlie Bisharet on violin, and David Arkenstone, and a lot of different people. And that album's great. Anything off of there. Open Skies is a real classic because it showcases not only the voice as a vocalese piece, but also synthesizer. When I do live concerts, I have a strap-on synthesizer.
Oh, yeah, those are great. Guitar. A guitar.
A guitar. One day I was going through the airport, in O'Hare Airport in Chicago, and the guitar is going through the thing, the X-ray machine, and the guy behind there goes, "Oh, wow, who owns this guitar?" And I raised "This is my first guitar," he says,
First scanned guitar.
Yes, he was so excited,
Oh, wow.
A lot of fun. I just love to have fun. I enjoy traveling. I enjoy performing for people. I really miss it.
Yes.
And teaching, I have voice students, which we do a lot by Zoom and Skype and all that stuff now.
Yeah, well, now as the world slowly starts to reopen and we can start to get together with our loved ones and expand into different communities, I know we'll all be in like a happier place, but more opportunity for yourself as well to get back onto the road, which I'm sure you're excited about.
Yeah, I am. Did I tell you about that? I have a book with 7 CDs for singing and
No, please. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, well, because, I love to share all the experiences and knowledge I've had from singing with all these great people in the studios. And
Absolutely.
So I put together a book with 7 CDs or downloads now. Mm-hmm. And it's about how to sing, because I'm a voice teacher as well as a coach. So it's how to sing right and to find your own voice. And it's a lot of ear training, so even instrumentalists can use it. You sing your way through the ear training, learning it's a major chord, minor chord, dominant seventh, all this stuff, but you sing your way through it, and all the basics of music theory and harmony. And there's a high book for women and children and a low book for men. It's for everybody of all ages and all levels. Doesn't matter, because it's a good workout for everybody. And it's a complete music education program for singers. And it's like, I have a lot of tips in there for that I picked up from singing in studios and singing on different projects, about do this, do that with the voice, and you'll get this result. Use the microphone this way or that way, and you get this result and stuff.
All the different techniques.
Yeah. It's really great. It's only $50, so US. So that's pretty cool,
I mean, I'm half Filipino, so I feel like I have a little bit of a creative, bone in my body. So I might have to follow up on that and teach myself a little bit better how to sing. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, you'll enjoy it. And I came up with an eye movement technique that kind of opens the ear, so to speak, for people that are pitch challenged, who have a difficult time matching pitch.
I was going to say, can anyone learn at any sort of level, even if they've been considered as tone deaf?
Yeah. Well, I can. I fixed a lot.
There we go. There we go.
And there's different gradations of that as well. But I've helped a lot of people with pretty severe limited range and pretty severe limited, being able to hear pitches. So we do some sonic therapy, some listening on the device. And I use my eye movement technique, which is very simple. And so between the combination of the two, and then we work on listening and how to listen and matching pitch and stuff, different exercises and patterns. Everyone can learn how to sing. That doesn't mean that everybody's going to be Whitney Houston or
The
Pink,
next Mariah Carey or
or Taylor Swift or whoever it is. It doesn't mean that, but it means that it opens your heart and opens your voice so that you feel more confident in expressing yourself. People that learn how to sing generally have a little more confidence in their voice and in singing and speaking as well, because even if you're just a speaker, you still have to warm up the vocal cords and to protect them and stuff. So, all of that is really important, and it all kind of meshes together, and it all helps the mental, and psychological and emotional aspects of the whole thing, because music is so powerful in that regard.
Exactly. I was just going to say it's therapy. There's different levels of it in music in general. But yeah, I'm very curious about this sonic therapy. I guess if you were to like break it down and tell us a little bit more about that, and what sort of benefits does it have aside from being able to like train your
Well,
ear?
the sonic therapy that I do, think of it as like, you have two muscles in your middle ear. And it's like going to the gym, working out those little muscles. And so what it does is it helps stimulate and charge the brain, wakes up, and it helps regulate the impulses that go into the brain. So when you understand that the ear is like the conductor and the body is the whole symphony, the ear is connected through all the organs in the body through the vagus nerve, and messages go back and forth both directions. And the voice
Right.
will do what
All
the ear can
connected.
hear. So to become a better singer, you have to be able to listen to the various frequencies. Now, hearing is automatic. Everybody's, unless you're born deaf, hearing is an automatic, but listening is a conscious choice. And that also has a psychological aspect to it.
Absolutely.
So all of that. But when you understand that the ear is the master controller, of the brain and the body, you'll understand why this type of sonic therapy called audio psychophonology, ear brain voice, really helps a lot of people. It can, from the simplest thing of making a singer's voice sound more resonant and rich and expanding the range and so forth, to helping people with ADD, ADHD, autism, communication problems, memory issues,
Wow.
insomnia, PTSD. It just goes, there are many, many things that we can help a lot with the sonic therapy. So it's for me as a sonic therapist, it's really a joy to to see the changes in people, after only listening to this specially acoustically processed music, that I program for each individual person, and to see and hear the changes and just see the looks on their faces, when suddenly they're matching pitch with you and singing, or the depressed person who's been on disability for 10 years and all of a sudden 3 months later he throws away the pills and he's not depressed anymore and he gets a job, within 2 weeks. So,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff is just profound, it's really wonderful.
It's just the way that music moves us, right? It's
Another aspect of it. This aspect of it is a little more physiological, let's say, scientific part of the whole theory of vibration and
right.
movement, as opposed to general music, which serves another purpose too, of taming the emotional beast and or exciting, the Limp Biscuit,
Yeah.
it just has all kinds of wonderful, wonderful aspects to it, and makes you more creative too. So that's
Yeah.
one would think that it takes away from my time as an artist, but on the contrary, it inspires me, and I learn different things from it, or different ideas will come while I'm in the process of working with people.
Exactly.
More inspiration will come.
That collaboration.
Yeah, you
Right.
got to be ready when it happens, though. You have to have an open mind and be ready when it happens.
So that piano door stays open the entire time.
These little
ready to go.
antennas stuck under my hair, You can't see them, but they're there. You know, they're always watching for the
Always
next
ready.
opportunity or the next creative thought. You know, and stuff. You to always be ready.
Incredible. And again, where can people look to book any of these sonic therapy lessons or voice
Yeah,
lessons?
all the lessons. If they want to book me as an artist to come to their place now that we can come out and perform again, or all of that, my music and stuff, you go to darlenekoldenhoven.com. Rhymes with Beethoven, spelled similarly, but the last name is Koldenhoven. So Darlene, Darlene, darlenekoldenhoven.com. And they can go there and check out everything. And I put everything on the website. It's not
Yeah.
just here's my latest album. It's everything about me that I do because, people have told me they get such a big kick out of like clicking through the website because there's so many entertaining aspects.
And working hard has led you to all these opportunities, especially as an independent artist that some don't necessarily get. But it's being persistent and striving for
Yeah.
that greatness that you're wanting to achieve for yourself. So that's incredible. So everybody, again, don't forget to check out Darlene's website if you're interested in any sort of lessons or learning more about your abilities that you may have untapped,
Yeah,
hiding it within you.
exactly.
So of course, before we tie everything up, want to touch on Grand Piano Spa Legacy one more time, just to let everybody know. Can you tell us a little bit more about when we're expecting to have that delivered?
I set the release date for October 22, so we're going to start the pre-order August 22. This time I'm going to try for #1 on Billboard classical crossover charts.
Here we go.
But
Here we go.
see, that's kind of out of my hands. That's up to everybody buying the album.
So all the fans out there,
All the fans out there.
and Darlene, I just want to say thank you so much for spending some time with me this afternoon. It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure. I very much appreciate your friendship in all of this and having gotten to know you even more. I'm just so proud of all the work that you've been able to achieve thus far with Plain P, and I know that's just the start.
Well, I have to thank you, for your help in this too. So
Yeah, we'll be here to help support all the albums to
great.
come.
Yay.
Absolutely. It's been so much fun speaking with you,
Thanks, Dave.
Darlene. Is there anything else that you would want to tell all the viewers about before we wrap up, or any sort of closing remarks?
Be positive, spread love, take care of yourself, and breathe love into your heart and to everybody else's. All things are possible, even when it seems like they're not. It may not be immediate, but it may be down the road. And to stay positive and to stay, doing your thing,
Of course.
stay the course, because someday it'll happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Darlene. Thank you to our viewers, of course, for tuning in. Make sure to follow Play and PE and Darlene on all of the social channels that you possibly can to stay in the loop on the latest. And of course, to all the tastemakers, if you haven't already streamed Darlene's brand new Billboard charting album, Grand Piano Spa, go do it now on the Play and PE. Until next time, Darlene, thank you so much again for your time. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Darlene.